Hello students, welcome to lecture 3rd of our online chemistry classes. In last class we have completed the types of crystalline solids, namely molecular solids, ionic solids, covalent or network solids and the metallic solids, depending on the type of constituents which solids have. Then we were solving some in-text questions and textbook exercise questions which were given in our NCERT textbook. Many we have solved. Last two were left and I have given you those questions as homework. I have written the answers of those questions on the board. The first question was to identify the intermolecular forces in various types of solids. Potassium sulfate is K2SO4, potassium ion and sulfate ions are the constituents. That's why intermolecular forces is ionic bond or called as Coulombic or electrostatic force of attraction. Tin is a metal, so metallic bonding. Benzene is hydrocarbon, C6H6. There is no much electronegative difference between carbon and hydrogen. And hydrocarbon are supposed to be bonded by London dispersion force, which is the weakest force possible. Urea is NH2CO NH2. There is difference in electronegativity of nitrogen and hydrogen, carbon and oxygen. That's why there is possibility of dipole-dipole interaction into it. Ammonia is of course hydrogen bonding, because whenever hydrogen is bonded with more electronegative elements like fluorine, oxygen or nitrogen, there is possibility of such intermolecular force. In water also H2, it is hydrogen bonding. Zinc sulfate is made up of Zn+2 cation and sulfate anion, so Coulombic or electrostatic force of attraction. Graphite is nothing but network of carbon, so covalent bonding is present in it. Rubidium is metal, so metallic bonding. And argon is a non-metal and very weak London dispersion force is present into it. Silicon carbide is of course the covalent bond, because silicon and carbon both are non-metals. One more question, we have given different type of solids and they have been asked to identify the type of solid. Tetraphosphorus dicoxide means P4O10 is a molecular solid because molecules are present in it. Ammonium sulfate is ionic because ammonium ion and sulfate ions are present. Silicon carbide is just now we have written there, it is also called as carbonundum. It is nothing but covalent or network solid. Iodine is a non-polar molecule, so molecular solid. Phosphorus is a non-polar molecule, so molecular solid. Plastic is amorphous solid because it has characteristics of amorphous solids. No definite geometrical arrangement, no sharp melting point, isotropy, all these properties. Graphite is covalent or network. Brass is a alloy of metal, so metallic solid. Rubidium is metallic solid. Lithium bromide, Li plus and Br minus are its constituents, so it is ionic solid. And silicon is of course covalent or network solid. So these all questions are very important. If you go through previous question papers, these in-text questions and exercise questions are very important. Directly questions are coming from that part. So we should deal with every question of in-text question, solved question, textbook, exercise question, right? So almost whatever part we have learned, 100% questions we have completed. Now we'll go ahead and we'll learn about the crystal lattice, how these constituents are arranged in a crystal, that we have to learn in detail. Because once we know the structure, we know the properties. Once we know the properties, we know the uses. And of course we can modify the properties and we can modify the uses also. So structures in solids are very important. particularly in crystalline solids, which we have learned. So in crystalline solids, to learn their structure, crystal structure, we should know the three terms, which are lattice points, one term. Another is called as crystal lattice or space lattice, and third one is called as unit cell. So these are the three important terms which we know in the crystal structure. So the definitions are important from theoretical point of view. So in this definition, whenever lattice point words comes, we should know that we should write it as it represents. In crystal lattice or space lattice, indicates, and unit cell, it gives. These are the words we are planning to use. Now, lattice points represents, crystal lattice indicates, and unit cell gives. But what it represents, what it indicates, what it gives, of course we have to write complete sentence here. So lattice points are the points which represents the position of constituents, position of constituents. Now what type of constituents we are not know? They may be atoms, they may be ions, or they may be molecules. We have classified crystals based on these constituents, so we know that already. So these are the points. Points means like this. This is point. These are the points which represents the position of constituents. What is the crystal lattice? Crystal lattice is nothing but regular pattern of lattice points, regular pattern of lattice points which indicates, regular pattern lattice points which indicates three-dimensional arrangement of crystal. So if we have this lattice point and we are arranging this three-dimensional in the regular pattern like this, it's a regular pattern, it is repeated after this distance, it is repeated. Three-dimensional. Only two-dimensional we can draw, but it is third dimension pointing towards us, right? When that regular pattern lattice point is arranged, it indicates the three-dimensional arrangement of the crystal. That is called as the crystal lattice. So it is a pattern of the lattice point. Now what is the unit cell? It is the smallest portion of crystal lattice which, when repeated, gives what it gives? Three-dimensional structure of crystal. So we have to see what type of smallest portion is there in this arrangement. So these are the lattice points arranged three-dimensionally. We get crystal lattice. Look at this point, which is being repeated. The smallest portion. This is again repeated like this. This is repeated. This is repeated. And we get the entire crystal structure. And that smallest point is called as the unit cell. Just like the complete construction of any building is made up of bricks. So bricks are the unit cell. the bricks are arranged three-dimensionally, and we get the entire structure of the building. So structure itself is called as crystal lattice, and the bricks are called as the unit cell, and the corners of those bricks we call this as the lattice points. So there are points, we call them as lattice points. They are arranged three-dimensionally to indicate the structure of crystal. We get crystal lattice, and the smallest portion of that lattice, which repeated again and again and gives the entire crystal, we call it as the unit cell. So these three terms we use again and again. They are not difficult to understand. First is lattice point, the second one is crystal lattice or space lattice, and third one is the unit cell. So you have to understand this definition very carefully, and you have to prepare this definition very carefully. The points which represents the position of constituents, lattice points. Regular pattern of lattice points which indicates three-dimensional arrangement of the three-dimensional arrangement of constituents in crystal. We will say three-dimensional arrangement of constituents in crystal. Is called as the crystal lattice or space lattice, and smallest portion of crystal lattice or space lattice, which when repeated in three dimension gives the crystal structure. Yes, this is the type of definitions we have. And by constituents we means either atoms, ions or molecules, depending on which type of crystalline solid we are talking about. Now the important thing is to learn unit cell, because once we know unit cell, the type of crystal we'll know. Just like if we know the cell, we'll know whether it is by looking into constituents. We know whether it is animal cell or plant cell, like that. So here also, once we know the unit cell, we have better understanding about the structure of crystal. That's why we'll go into detail of unit cell now. Unit cell just now we have defined that it is the smallest portion of the space lattice which gives the three-dimensional, which when repeated in three dimension gives the entire crystal structure. Now this unit cell has parameters. Parameters which is defined. The information about the unit cell is obtained by certain terms. We call them as parameters. Now what are those parameters? I will draw here a simple cubic unit cell like this. Now these are the particles arranged here like this. It is a simple cube. There are 8 corners and they are present at various corners. Now this length, and this length, they are very important in defining this unit cell. We call this as A, we call this as B, and we call this as C. So we call this as interfacial lengths, also called as edge lengths, and they are A, B and C, right? So if we know A, if we know B, if we know C, it is like length, height and width, right? We know that the interfacial lengths, the lengths between two faces, are known to us because it has 6 faces. How 6 faces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 like that. So interfacial lengths or edge length we call them as ABC, which is important parameter. And another parameter is the interfacial angles. For example, this particular angle between B and C, we call it as alpha. This angle, we call it as beta. And this angle, we call it as gamma. So, interfacial angles are alpha, beta, and gamma. Alpha is present between B and C. Beta is present between A and C. And gamma is present between A and B. So if we know these angles and if we know these edge lengths, we know about the type of unit cell we are talking about, isn't it? Because these are the important parameters of this unit cell. So parameters of unit cells are edge lengths, which are also called as interfacial distances, or the interfacial angles, which also called as axial angles, right? So now we'll see the types of the unit cell. These are unit cell parameters. Edge lengths and the interfacial angles are the parameters of unit cells. Now we'll see the types of unit cells. All these parts are important in examination theory as well as MCQ, so you should listen it very carefully. The type of unit cells we talk about. Type of unit cells. So there are two main types of unit cells. One is called as primitive or simple unit cell. We'll abbreviate it as SC, simple cell. And another is called as centered unit cell. Now what is meant by simple or primitive unit cell? And what is meant by centered unit cell? The centered unit cell is further divided. You will see that what we mean by this by completing this table. This is called as body centered cell. Cell means unit cell. Body centered unit cell. Face centered unit cell. And the end centered unit cell. We call it as EC, we call it as FC, and we call it as BC. Body centered unit cell, face centered unit cell, end centered unit cell, and is called as simple cell. Now, what is the difference into it? The difference is regarding the position of particles, constituent particles. Position of particles. Particles means constituents, atoms, molecules, or ions. They are present in simple unit cell only at corners. Only at corners. If constituents are present, particles are present, it is called as simple or primitive unit cell. In body centered unit cell, all corners plus body center. So they are present at all corners plus one body center of that unit cell. I will draw a diagram to make it more clear. In face centered unit cell, all corners plus center of each face. There are 6 faces and it is present at center of every face. Plus there are 8 corners and they are present at 8 corners. In end-centered unit cell, all corners plus centers of opposite face. It is present at the center of opposite face. So these are the various types. I will draw the diagram. Suppose I draw a diagram like this one. And I draw the particles only at corners. There are 8 corners. This particular diagram is of primitive or simple unit cell. And as I draw cube, is simple cubic unit cell. Right? There are different type of unit cells. 7 are there. We'll learn about them. But look at this diagram. Particles are present only at corners. That's why it is called as the simple unit cell. In body-centered unit cell, the particles are present in this diagram. Particles are present not only at corners, but along with corners, they are present in the center of this unit cell. One particle is present at exactly it is like suspended exactly at the center of that particular unit cell. So this is called as body centered unit cell. Now if I draw a diagram like this one, I draw here. These are the particles present at corners. And there are 6 faces. So I will draw a particle at the center of face. This is the upside face, downside face. This is left side. This is right side. And this is pointing towards us, and this is front, and this is for rear. So there are 6 faces, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 5, and this is 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these particles are present here. Like this, I will make them both. So there are 6 particles, and this one is present in the body center. So along with corner, they are present at this particular location. Now what we mean by end-centered unit cell? I will draw that diagram here. Not difficult. So they are present no doubt at the corners, and they are present at center of any 2 opposite faces, either upside, downside, left side, right side, front side or rear side. So I will draw like this. These are the particles present up and down. I have drawn. If they are present here and here, that also nothing but end-centered only. or front and rear, that also nothing but end center. So depending on the position, location of the constituents, we are getting different type of unit cells. Only at corner, simple. At body center, body center. At face center, face centered unit cell. And end centered unit cell means at corners as well as any two opposite faces. So this is all about the types of unit cell. Now after learning these types of unit cell, we have to learn about the types of crystal systems. This is also very important, and nowadays the questions are coming in MCQs also, so we should be very careful regarding this preparation. This is very simple part. You can draw diagram easily. Drawing cube is not that much challenging thing for you because you are drawing that from school level. Only we should know how the different name means different position of the location of the constituent means particles, means atoms, ions or molecules. So first we will have the type of crystal system. Type of crystal system. So we have 7 types of these crystal systems, and in these 7 types there are 14 possible variations. Possible variations means one particular crystal system can exist into simple unit cell or body centered unit cell or face centered unit cell or end centered unit cell, either 4 or any 1 or any 2 or any 3, like that. Possible variations are 14. So it is called as Bravais lattice. So how many Bravais lattice are there? There are 14 Bravais lattice, and there are 7 possible crystal system. So first, I will first explain this, and then we will put this in table, and we will prepare that table. The first one is cubic. For cubic, we should understand one remark, that is most symmetric. So this is cubic. Now it is defined by its parameter. What are parameters? A equal to B equal to C. Alpha equal to beta equals to gamma equals to 90 degree. This is A, this is B, this is C, this is alpha, this is beta, and this is gamma. Even though they are not seems to be equal, in cube they are equal, isn't it? So you should excuse if you are not looking at it in as perfect cube, but A equals to B equal to C, alpha equals to beta equals to gamma equals to 90 degree. That is nothing but a cubic. Now next is tetragonal. In tetragonal, it is just like cubic, but C is different. C means this height is different. So we'll just expand one side to this. This I will make deliberately more heighted. But angles are same, 90 degree. So A equals to B but not equal to C. A equals to B but not equals to C. We have to elongate it. But A and B we have to keep as constant. But alpha equal to beta equals to gamma equals to 90. So tetragonal, only one side we are changing, C side. A equal to B but not equal to C. but angle wise alpha, beta, gamma still they are 90. The third is orthorhombic, and it is like matchbox. Matchbox means like this one. A not equal to B not equal to C, but alpha equal to beta equals to gamma equals to 90 degree. Angles are same, but A is not equal to B not equal to C. That is called as orthorhombic, matchbox like. You have to remember it, like it is matchbox like. Now fourth is rhombohedral. Rhombohedral is nothing but disordered cube. Disordered cube means for this cube, if we apply pressure, it has been disordered like this. So for that, A equal to B equal to C, but alpha equals to beta equals to gamma, but they are not equal to 90 degree. This type of system, that we are making pressure to cube and the cube get disordered. Angles are not equal to 90 degree, but lengths are A equals to B equal to C. In that way it is like cube, but angles are not 90 degrees, so it is disordered cube, we should say. Fifth is hexagonal. Hexagonal, it is like graphite. We have seen the structure of graphite. Hexagonal structure. We can draw like this. Initially, then draw like this, and then we make like this. Just make this way, so that it looks more symmetrical, like this. So there are 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that. So what is graphite like structure? A equal to B but not equal to C. Alpha equal to beta equal to 90 degree, but gamma is 120 degree. That's why gamma is not equal to 90 degree, this angle. This is greater than 90 degree. So A equals to B. This A and B are equal but not C. C is greater, height is greater. Alpha equals to beta, 90 degree, but not the gamma because it is 120. So it is, fifth structure is called as hexagonal. Sixth is called as monoclinic. Monoclinic is like orthorhombic. Only difference is that beta is not equal to 90 degree. So A equals to not equals to B not equal to C. Alpha equals to gamma equals to 90 degree. But beta is not equal to 90 degree. No need to draw a diagram. Diagrams are more complex. Even if we draw a diagram, it will not be proper diagram. So leave it. They are not there in our syllabus. But these parameters we have to remember, and parameters can be remembered if you remember what we are writing on the bracket, because whatever writing we are bracket is clue for us, hint for us to identify the exact structure. And seventh is triclinic, which is most unsymmetric. A not equal to B not equal to C. Alpha not equal to beta, not equal to gamma, not equal to 90. So most symmetric is A equal to B equal to C, alpha equals to beta equals to gamma equals to 90 degree. And most unsymmetric is A is not equal to B not equal to C, alpha not equal to beta not equal to gamma not equal to 90 degree. So this is the 7 systems: cubic, then comes tetragonal, then comes orthorhombic, then comes rhombohedral, then comes hexagonal, monoclinic, and triclinic. And most important are their parameters, because parameters are asked in the examination. So you should not ignore about this, even though it is somewhat difficult to remember, but if you practice it, then they are very easy to remember. Now we'll make table and put all this information in the table so that it is easy to remember all these informations. So see what type of table I will make now. In first column I will write crystal system. In second column I will write possible variations: simple cell, body centered cell, face centered cell, and end centered cell, which are possible variations. Then I will write about the edge lengths, then interfacial angles, and then actually we should make this table short. We can call interfacial angles as axial angles also. Better we'll write it as and then example. Now again we will make some columns in this. So first is cubic, most symmetric. You should be able to